Good evening, I'm Robin Dwyer. This is ITV News London. In a London first, one of its councils will effectively be run by the government because of accusations of corruption. Community Secretary Eric Pickles said there was no place for rotten boroughs in 21st century Britain, as he announced 3 commissioners would be sent in to Tower Hamlets Council. But the borough's mayor, Lutfer Rahman, says no evidence of fraud has been found. Here's our political correspondent Simon Harris.
Loathed by Labour and the Conservatives, Lutfer Rahman has appeared untouchable until now. But today, the controversial mayor of Tower Hamlets was stripped of some of his powers. Ministers decided to intervene after an investigation into the council's finances. In the Commons, the Communities Secretary didn't hold back.
It paints a deeply concerning picture of obfuscation, denial, secrecy, the breakdown of democratic scrutiny and accountability, and a culture of cronyism risking the corrupt spending of public funds.
Tower Hamlets is one of 4 London boroughs where the council is run by a directly elected executive mayor. Rahman has been in charge of this East End authority for more than 4 years. The auditors spent 6 months trying, not always successfully, to get to the bottom of what goes on here. Their brief was to uncover any evidence of fraud or poor financial management, and in particular to see whether the mayor favoured the Bengali community when he handed out grants. The 200-page report found the awarding of grants was surrounded by a lack of transparency generally. It concluded grants have been awarded to organisations which were ruled ineligible or which did not meet the required evaluation score. And when challenged, the authority had a tendency towards denial or obfuscation rather than an inclination to investigate concerns raised.
There's nothing rotten in Hamlets. We have fantastic borough.
This was Rahman speaking to ITV News in July. He rarely agrees to be interviewed on British TV, although he does appear more frequently on Bengali stations. Today he issued a statement saying the auditors had found no evidence of fraud, adding, "The report highlights flaws in processes. These are regrettable. We will learn from this report and strengthen our procedures accordingly. I was always confident wild claims about fraud would not be substantiated." John Biggs was Labour's candidate in May when Rahman was re-elected for a second term in a ballot now being challenged in the High Court.
If I was him, I'd be worried. I'd also be ashamed because basically most of his powers have now been taken away by the government, so he won't be able to do very much, and that's a tragedy for democracy.
Lutfer Rahman will now have to answer to 3 government commissioners before he can hire or fire any senior council managers. They'll also have the final say over the sale of property and the awarding of grants to community groups. Simon Harris, ITV News, Tower Hamlets Town Hall.
A court heard today 3 G4S guards ignored a man's desperate pleas for help as he died while they were restraining him on a flight. The men are on trial for the manslaughter of Jimmy Mubenga, who was being deported from Ilford, where he lived since arriving in the UK. The men deny the charges. A Catford man remains in custody in Greece tonight, more than a day after being cleared of murder. Miles Lichmore Dunbar has so far spent 15 months behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. He was accused of stabbing a fellow Londoner. From Crete, our senior correspondent Ronke Phillips reports.
Not guilty, but not yet a free man. It's 24 hours since Miles Lichmore Dunbar was cleared of murder, but it will be tomorrow before the handcuffs are removed and he's finally released. Miles, not guilty, but not free. Are you disappointed?
I have to wait for another 2 days, even though I've been declared not guilty. This is Greece for you, it's typical.
The full-time student spent 15 months behind bars for a crime he has always maintained he did not commit. Then yesterday, after a tense trial, a court in Crete ruled he was not guilty of the murder of a teenager from London, although he was found guilty of a fray. After the verdict, he gave this reaction.
I'm feeling on top of the world. It's surreal. I just want to get outside and for the fresh air to hit me. I'll go back into freedom after so long. Be able to return to life, return to university, my family, everything.
The case centred on the murder of Tyrell Matthews Burton. The 19-year-old was stabbed to death in a mass brawl outside the Safari nightclub in Malia in July last year. His mother Sharon was in court to hear the verdict and says she plans to appeal. But Miles' parents, who led a tireless campaign to prove his innocence, say the court made the right decision.
my son was trying to help her son, and I know that God has blessed me, because there's a million times over that my son could have been hurt, and I may have gotten that phone call, and I didn't. And so I really feel it for her. At the same time, you know, my son was trying to help, and he's the good guy. He's genuinely the good guy.
The case against Miles was never very strong. His DNA was not on any of the 3 knives recovered by police from the scene. Forensic tests proved that the blood on his clothing did not come from the victim. And crucially, of all the witnesses there that night, only one girl said she saw him anywhere near where the fight broke out. The file has now been sent to the Greek Supreme Court. The family's British lawyer says the case is not over until the real killer is brought to justice.
Absolutely not over. The President made it perfectly clear yesterday that he wanted further investigations to be instigated immediately to find out who was culpable, who was responsible for the death of Tyrrell, because this case certainly did not find that out.
All they need to do is to follow it through, and they will find the killer, and justice will then be served for Tyrrell's mum.
Tomorrow they will get the chance to hug their son again. But as they do, their thoughts will be with the teenager who came to this island to celebrate his birthday but never left. Ronke Phillips, ITV News, Crete.
The senior Labour MP Sadiq Khan said tonight he'll fully cooperate with the police over allegations he used his mobile phone whilst driving. The Member of Parliament for Tooting, who is an award-winning road safety campaigner, is tipped as a possible future London mayor. London's bus drivers took the first step towards strike action today, as 96% said they would support a walkout. The ballot by the Unite Union could lead to a strike in the new year. Members want to see an end to salary differences between bus companies in the capital and instead want a collective deal for all drivers. The Tower of London installation to mark 100 years since the start of the First World War has drawn millions of visitors to the capital. But there's just a week left to view the poppy moat. So with time running out, a man in Oxfordshire has started an online petition to keep the poppies beyond Armistice Day next Tuesday. Ria Chatterjee reports.
In 7 days, these poppies are due to be picked. But thousands feel it's too significant a site to lose. They want the installation to stay for another year.
Why do you think it's a good idea? Why is it important, do you think?
I think a lot of people feel quite strongly about remembering, everybody and the lives that were lost. So, yeah, I think it's essential, really, that we never forget, so we don't make the same mistakes again in the future.
I think it's really a good idea. We need to remember. It's a lot of people that lost their lives.
The online petition says the extension is about keeping the memory of sacrifice alive.
During this period of remembrance, countless numbers are coming to see the installation. But if it stays for another year, is there a chance that the art could become detached from its meaning, with people coming to appreciate its aesthetic over its significance?
I would doubt that very much, to be honest. I think just seen, especially in this form, is very evocative.
I think it's a powerful message that will last. This is like a one-off occasion, and I think if it kept on too long, you'd lose the value of it.
Thousands of the poppies have been bought by members of the public. Part of the artistic vision is for them to end up in people's homes. Tower of London say they want to stick to their original plan. But if the e-petition reaches 100,000 signatures, there's a real chance for a government debate on whether the memorial remains. Ria Chatterjee, ITV News.
Well, what do you think? Here's a flavour of what you've been saying on our Facebook page. Valerie Costin said they need to stay longer. Everyone should have the chance to go and see. But Paul Greenfield thinks they will just become another tourist attraction and the real meaning will be forgotten. And finally, Melika Patmore posted, I own one of the poppies and worry about them not lasting the year, but at the same time it would be amazing to keep them there longer. And if you want to join in the debates, go to Facebook and search for ITV London. Now let's take a look at the weather forecast with Martin Stew.
The seasons make our suits. New Covent Garden Soup sponsors the ITV London weekday weather.
Hello again. The showers we've had this evening clearing away over the next few hours to leave a dry and relatively clear night. Quite chilly, but not as misty and foggy as it was last night. Then a bit of a cloudy start first thing, brightening up towards lunchtime, bringing with it the risk of 1 or 2 showers. But for most of us, it is going to be staying dry. And that brightening up continues into the afternoon. So some lovely sunny spells, still the outside chance of a few showers, a bit of a cool breeze, but then clear and perfect conditions for fireworks night.
New Covent Garden Soup sponsors the ITV London weekday weather.
Well, that's it from the London team for the moment, but don't forget you can look up what's been happening in the capital on our website itv.com/London. We're back on air tomorrow with updates in Good Morning Britain. But from us, good night.